thank you for attending, everybody. Just before we start, a few housekeeping rules. So all attendees are going to remain on mute for the whole webinar, but if you do want to ask a question, please use the question box. So if anything relates to the subject, or if there's anything to do with the presenters, so if you can't hear or if we're going too fast, just let us know through that. And please note that a link to view the webinar recording will be sent out after the demo. So this is the 23rd in our series of monthly webinars on key areas of NAV and Business Central. You can sign up for as many as you like on the website, and I'll show you a list of the upcoming webinars at the end of this session. We do also send out regular emails to register for the next one. So my name is Karen. I'm an account manager here at TVision, and I'll be facilitating the webinar today. And Rob Jackson is a technical account manager at Jet Global, and he'll be doing the demo. So just to introduce the subject today, many of you use Jet Basics, or Express as it used to be called, or Jet Professional, which is now known as Jet Reports. And as you've been using these solutions for some time, you might be wondering what the next level of reporting is with Jet, and how this compares to the like of Microsoft Power BI or any other type of BI reporting tools and data warehouses. So to answer these questions, Rob will be taking you through the webinar today on the following areas. So first, he's going to give you an intro to Jet Global and the solutions. Then he'll talk about Jet Analytics and the differences between Jet Reports, or Jet Professional as it used to be known, and Jet Analytics. Then I'll go into a demo of it, showing you the top 5 things that you need to know about the solution. And then finally, after the demo, you can submit questions to him. So I'll now hand you over to Rob.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Can I just confirm that you can see my screen, Karen?
Yes, I can.
Perfect, thank you very much. Okay, welcome everyone. So I, as Karen said, technical account manager for Jet Global, and just as a brief introduction to the products that we have, which are specific to the Microsoft Dynamics suite of ERPs. We have Jet Reports, which I think a lot of the users on the call already utilize. So this is when you are reporting in a tool which is built into Microsoft Excel, and you're drawing data directly from your live transactional NAV or Business Central database. So this is suited for, in particular, financial reporting and the financial close process, because, for example, if you make a transaction in your source system and then run a report, you can see immediate results. Today, we are going to be focusing on Jet Analytics, which is a business warehouse automation product. And also in our suite of products, we have Jet Budgets and also the Jet Hub, which is like a web-based portal for storing and distributing reports. So if we just start with our top 5 things to know, if you like, about Jet Analytics. First of all, what is Jet Analytics? So it is a data warehouse automation and business intelligence solution, which can be implemented in a short space of time and also at an affordable price. So what we have inside the solution is a pre-built business intelligence project that is specific for NAV or Business Central. And instead of, for example, building a BI solution from scratch, which can take several weeks, if not months, then this makes it quite affordable. And in addition, we have a suite of standard reports which you can use against the cubes, and I'll show you a couple of examples of that. So the pre-built project basically eliminates a lot of cost. Secondly, and I think there's a misconception in what is Jet Analytics versus Power BI. So we'll basically explain that in more detail, but it basically means that you can use Power BI with Jet Analytics. That's really what it's built for, and it means that business users can effectively deal with the data models, which are in a much easier format for business users to understand. Building dashboards and reports without technical expertise. Again, the cubes are much easier for business users to follow. So you don't need to understand, for example, the complex way in which the data is organized inside the ERP. And the cubes that we have as standard are based around specific business areas. So we have a finance cube, one for sales, procurement, receivables, payables, and inventory. It's possible as well to consolidate and report over multiple data sources. It's very common that a business would have not just their ERP as a source of transactional data. So it's possible to blend data from multiple data sources. And in addition, if companies are upgrading from for example, doesn't have to be, but NAV 2009 to Business Central, it might be that you want to re-implement instead of taking across your historical transactions, but from a reporting point of view, you may want to, let's say, join those two together. And all of our reports and dashboards are built to work against the standard cube. So you can basically take those reports with you. So let's move on. And just to distinguish again, the difference between documents, reports, and business intelligence, because they are one is not really a replacement, for the other. They are used in conjunction with each other. So documents are effectively static documents that you would produce, generally speaking, direct from your ERP system. So order confirmations, invoices, those types of documents. Jet Reports is used for operational reporting, and that's more where you're triggering a report to ask a specific question of the ERP, and then it goes off and fetches the results that the report calls for. And analytics is more where you are putting together a much larger data model, which is optimized for speed, and it is suited for looking at data over a much longer length of time, for example, to see trends. So this is really, so we start, let's say, on the left-hand side with our database. Any ERP database is quite a complex data model made up of lots of different tables, fields, and that can be quite confusing for business users to understand. So moving to the middle box, we take the relevant data out of the database and we basically organize that by topic or subject, if you like, and we just take the relevant data that we require for reporting, and we also calculate some fields that you may need from a reporting perspective that you don't have inside the ERP directly. And then from the data warehouse, we produce our cubes, and then customers, for example, might have some additional requirements in terms of including fields that are maybe custom fields or that type of thing. But so sometimes it's still you've got the ability, let's say, to add to the standard project that we have. This slide basically depicts the flow of the data. So starting in the, let's say, top left-hand corner with your source database or databases, okay? And the Jet Data Manager, we don't show this today, but this is the tool that basically manages the process of extracting, transforming the data from your source systems, first into a staging database that you just see here, and then on from that into a data warehouse. So by the time the data gets into the data warehouse, the data is, let's say, cleaned, prepared, and it's put into a structure where you can blend data from multiple data sources. And then from here, we can build the cubes. And then in terms of delivery to the end users, you can choose your front end tool. So for example, we can look at these cubes with Excel or, for example, Power BI, and I'll show you examples of both. And this shows you, it's just a visual graphic that basically shows you how you can link together data from your old ERP with your new implemented ERP and have a single data warehouse so you don't lose the historical transactions for reporting purposes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just move on to a demo of the product so you can just understand and see more about it. What I have here is one of the standard templates which we make available for download from our website, so you can use this against the standard cubes. So this is an income statement overview, which basically is a consolidation of 2 different companies here. So right now I'm looking at the data from both companies, but for example, I can filter that down very, very quickly and then just choose like a specific date, quarter, and just make some selections like this. And in a more detailed sheet, I've got the same kind of arrangement here, where I can just make selections here, for example 2017, for the UK. So we've got a range of different templates that you can use straight out of the box, but I think the thing to note here is that really, as soon as you make selections, I'm now no longer going to the source system to retrieve the results. I've already got a very, very large data model built and optimized, if you like, for this type of reporting, which is why we're getting results, pretty quickly when we make these selections. Now, if I wanted to do ad hoc reporting against the same data model inside Excel, I can do that really easily. So on the Jet toolbar, we then make available this pivot table option, and I can choose the Finance Cube, which is what the previous Power BI template is based on. And here, for example, I can just choose the fields that I want. So we're kind of in a standard Excel data model here, but if I want to look at the chart of accounts over a period of time, but then include some slices, so I've got the same kind of interaction, and I might want to just choose some of the selections here. Just bear with me. Just such that I've got some the ability to filter by some of these things. So if I want to have a look, for example, for revenue transactions, which are regular entries, not closing ones, because I've got closing entries here for the UK and 2017, then I can expand this out and I can see all of my transactions here, for example, for retail sales, and that should hopefully match, let's say, with what I've got here. So I've got 17,603. So I think one of the important things is to note that what I'm doing here is effectively reporting against the same cube of data which I'm showing in Power BI, so I can be sure that my numbers basically add up. But the reason that I might want to look at this in Excel is because I might want to split this information, for example, by my global dimension code. So I've got flexibility to choose whichever dimension code that I want. And we can also introduce into this the shortcut dimensions as well, such that you can look at those as if effectively we change the data such that you've got more dimension codes than you've actually got, let's say, in the ERP. So for those of you that understand the structure of NAV or Business Central, on the general ledger entry table, you've just got 2 dimension codes, and sometimes that's quite restrictive because people have got a requirement to analyze that by more than that. Okay. So let's just close this one down. And what I'll do is just do this the other way round. I'll start now with a report, which is an Excel-based report, which we provide again as part of our standard report suite. And again, this is a Jet report, but it's one that integrates with a cube. So this one in particular is an inventory-based report. So it looks at obviously my inventory value over a period of time, but again, I've got multiple companies in here. So if I want to look at just information, for 2018 versus 2019, for example, I can select multiple years, and if I want to look at just a certain warehouse value or that type of thing, then it's quite easy to do. Okay, but if I take this away, you might look at insights into your data, whereas here, for example, in 2019 Q1, I've got this kind of spike in in my inventory value. Now, this particular report, okay, allows me to look at particular product groups, but it might be quite hard to, kind of tie down, exactly, where that spike in data is coming from. Okay, so what I will do now with Power BI, if I just close this one down, and I'll just start a new Power BI. We'll just quickly build something from scratch that basically compares, but we'll look at the same data that's supporting this report in Excel, but we'll use Power BI to do it. So if we just close this, and I can just go to Get Data from Analysis Services. Just press OK. And then in here, these are my cubes, and I'll choose the inventory cube. So this is a description of everything that's inside this particular data model. And then once I'm inside Power BI, I could start to build some things on the fly. So for example, if I just have a KPI, and here you'll see that I've got all of my fields. So if I take cost on hand, for example, in the whole data model, I've got 18 million. And I can just choose to format this just slightly differently, so we can see some more detail. So we'll put this to none. And then if I want to, let's say, look at the date, I can take my year value and just have that available here, so I can put a filter against this. So at a very basic level, if I start to choose different years, then I'll start to see the inventory value across different years. And then what I'll do, I want to see how that inventory value is basically split down by category. So if I look at my item card, I can pick, oh, sorry, beg your pardon, it was called product group. And I want to, again, look at the cost on hand. Right, so here now you can see that under this particular product group, emblems and pins, so this is only sample data, but I can basically see that I've got a high quantity of inventory in this particular category. So if I just copy this and just put this down here, so I'll just duplicate this pie chart, but this one at the bottom, rather than product group, we'll put this one at item level. And then if I put on here like a filter, and we'll just put just emblems and pins, then I can see I'm right down now to the individual products that make up the majority of what makes up my inventory. So I can basically sort this, for example, by cost on hand, and then I've got my biggest ones here. So just despite our best forecasts, Cherry Finish Crystal Awards didn't appear to be the best-selling product, and that's really where our inventory was sitting, for that period. But again, this amount here that we've got, I mean, if I now choose emblems and pins, which is where this kind of inventory spike came from, 4659 should exactly equal the number that I've got here in Power BI. So I think hopefully that it helps explain to you how you can use the data much faster without going to your source system every single time, and how the data that is effectively produced by Jet Analytics allows you to analyze your trends and your data over a period of time. But again, it's to stress, it's not a replacement for Jet Reports, because that is more used for financial reporting, ad hoc reporting, and where you've got, let's say, a tight integration between that financial reporting and your source system, because you want results for Jet Reports that update immediately as soon as you've posted a transaction in the ERP. This type of analysis is really where you're looking at information over a much bigger period of time. Okay, so hopefully that has helped explain. I'll just show one final slide here that just shows again some of the key points of Jet Analytics. The tool Jet Data Manager can also help you, achieve things, for example, to govern your master data management. The tool itself, which of course, if customers are interested, we can help show you a demonstration of the actual Jet Data Manager, which is the tool that manages the extract and the transformation of the data. But it can help, for example, by maintaining the project in a very governed way, and it can automatically produce documentation on the project as well. So if companies have got audit requirements for GDPR or that type of thing, it can help with that type of area as well. So just to summarize, if companies want to be able to report on data from multiple data sources, or if you want to join up data from an older system to a new system, if you want to get started with Power BI very quickly with a data model that the business understands very quickly and easily, then really that is where our products are based. Our products don't also require any specific technical skills. Everything that I've shown you is just integrating with the product as we tend to use it. So there's no reliance on IT or somebody with like a high level of technical skill that may not understand the business requirement too well. Okay, so so I think I finished a little bit early, Karen. So I don't know if I can pass things back to you, and then of course if I don't know whether you've had any questions so far that anybody has typed in.
Not so far, but if anybody does have any questions, if you could type them into the question box now, and Rob will hopefully be able to answer them. If there is a answer that requires a bit of a longer explanation, then we will get back to you via email offline afterwards. But yeah, if there are any questions, if you wouldn't mind submitting a couple of them now, that'd be great. Thank you. Just give you a couple of minutes for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've got one here. So it says, so a data cube could be built combining data from NAV and Dynamics CRM?
Yep, correct. And that is a very common scenario. So we have connectors for over 100 data sources from Jet Data Manager. So we utilize, it's actually an external company called CData. But for example, if you wanted to take data from CRM, or it could be that we see companies using things like Google Analytics a lot, or external data. It could even be that people want to match up their sales trends, next to what the weather conditions were at the time, or if you've got external factors that that might influence it. But yeah, certainly you can basically join the data together. So inside the actual data warehouse, you could have, for example, just as you describe, a kind of blend of data from both different data sources, as well as multiple companies as well. So if you are running reports directly in the NAV or Business Central system, you can only report on the company that you're logged in at that time. So what we do is kind of take those barriers away, if you like, and then you can report on consolidated data. And the same goes really for Jet reports or analytics. But I think the important part with Jet Analytics is that people are dealing with a cube that's got all of your logic inside of it already. So the only thing really you're doing with the front end tools is you're just doing the visualization part. So all of your business rules, all of that logic sits inside the calculations, and then you've got, let's say, a single version of the truth. And that's why it's so easy that all of the numbers kind of add up between the solutions. So whereas I was showing you the Power BI versus the Excel-based reporting, you can be pretty sure that that the numbers between those two systems add up, for the different business users that want to use different front end tools for different purposes.
Okay. Another question is, can we build Power BI reports and publish it on Jet Analytics?
Yeah, well, if effectively what Jet Analytics does is it generates like a cube, which is your data model that's ready for use with Power BI. But yes, you can basically publish those Power BI reports that is relying on the data that comes from Jet Analytics. Exactly that. Yeah. The point being is you don't have to. I mean, within Power BI itself, you haven't got to connect to the raw data in the ERP and then do, let's say, all of your table joins and that type of thing, because that's where a lot of companies kind of get stuck a little bit, because the ERP structure of the data is very disparate. You've got data coming from lots of different tables. So what we do is basically join those together and make a data model that is much easier for the business users to understand. So I think that's where people struggle a little bit with Power BI, because the source data is not really in a format that's optimized for reporting. That's really optimized for data input, which is why the data is spread across lots of different tables.
Okay. Okay, so we'll probably finish there with the questions, but feel free to use either the survey at the end or drop me an email at the end if you do have any further questions, and we'll be able to reply those offline. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Rob. So just to finish with just a few things. So we hope you found this webinar interesting and informative. As mentioned previously, this is the 23rd in the series of webinars, and we'll be sending out emails soon. So take a look at what we've got coming up, and if you're interested in any of those, pop onto our website and feel free to register. So thank you for attending. Once I close this session, a survey will appear. It'd be great if you could respond with some feedback. And if you do have any further questions, either about Jet Analytics or just about the webinars in general, feel free to email them to me at marketing@tvisiontech.co.uk. Thank you very much.